Welcome. Tonight, I'm going to guide you through a cognitive shuffle, a science-backed technique that helps quiet racing thoughts to ease you into sleep. Here's how it works. Every 8 seconds, I'll describe something simple. Your only job is to picture it, not as a static image, but as if you're there. If I say a red balloon, see yourself holding it. If I say a quiet stream, imagine yourself sitting beside it. Don't analyze. Don't connect one image to the next. Just see it and let it go. This works because your brain naturally shuffles through random images as you drift off. We're simply giving it a head start. Now, get comfortable. Close your eyes. Breathe out the air in your lungs. Now take a slow breath in. And let it out for twice as long. One more time. Breathe in. And let it out now, nice and slow, feeling the air pass your lips as if you're blowing through a straw. Keep breathing at a slow pace, feeling the rise and fall of your stomach. Let's begin. Leaves, crunching underfoot on a trail. Stone wedge. Paper boat floating down the stream. A wool yarn. Dew, glistening on morning grass. A wooden pin. A fisherman casting a line. A clay pot. A butterfly landing on a windowsill. Cotton patch. Smoke rising from a campfire. A brass clip. A birdhouse hanging on the porch. A leather pouch. Chipmunk stuffing his little cheeks. A wooden disc. Sunbeams streaming through a barn door. The lid of a pot. A gardener planting tomato seeds in rows. A linen cord. Rain dripping from roof eaves. A glass lens. A hummingbird jumping from flower to flower. top clasp. A young man pouring grain into a barrel. A stone cylinder. A caterpillar inching along a twig. A wool tassel. Fog rolling over ocean cliffs. A wooden shaft. A spinner working at their wheel. A clay disc. A kingfisher diving into water. A cotton wrap. Fireflies blinking in and out all around. A brass washer. Herbs hanging to dry. A leather patch. A ladybug crawling on a leaf. A wooden child's cue. Moonlight on freshly fallen snow. A ceramic ring. A miller grinding wheat. A linen thread. Pelican floating on gentle waves. Glass knob. Hay bales stacked in a field. Small copper tube. Wind chimes singing on a porch. A small stone cube. A grasshopper resting on a stick. A wool fringe. Sunlight dappling a forceful. A wooden cone. A shepherd guiding sheep home. A clay cylinder. A seagull standing on a pier. A long cotton string. Steam rising from a pot. A brass tip. A stable hand brushing the horse. a leather flap on a bag, an egret wading through marsh grass, a globe, clouds reflecting lazily in a still lake, a ceramic cone, a watchmaker placing the last of tiny gears, a linen strip, a toad jumping into a puddle, a glass cap, methodically untangling fishing line, a wool hat, autumn leaves drifting on a creek, a woolen ring, a weaver working at a loom, porcelain saucer, ripples spreading across the pond, a green canvas bag, peeling an orange, brass compass, a butterfly resting on your finger, a wooden spoon, firelight dancing on cabin walls, a ceramic vase, a goose waddling across grass, a blue linen bag, snow piling up on a windowsill, a round glass ornament, stirring a pot of stew over a fire, copper pan, sailboat drifting in the ocean, a wooden bench, wheat swaying in an open field, a clay pipe, a blacksmith working iron on his anvil, a silk thread, petals gently falling from the tree, a stone basin, a grandmother rolling out pie dough. Brass latch. A rabbit nibbling clover. A wooden tray. Moonlight reflecting on a lake. Pitcher of water. A shepherd lazily watching his sheep graze. Cotton rag. Fog slowly lifting from a river. A gray tin cup. A mother braiding her daughter's hair. A glass dish. Crane standing in reeds. A wool blanket. Embers glowing in a fireplace. A wooden handle. Blowing dandelion seeds in the wind. A stone sphere. Steam rising from a hot spring. A leather satchel. Lilies in a vase. A brass hinge. A lizard basking on a warm rock. A wooden lid. Leaves gently spiraling down from trees. A lamp. A cobbler carefully stitching a shoe. Soft linen sheets. Starlight over a quiet meadow. Glass sphere. A duck gliding across a pond. A cotton ball. Winding a grandfather. Copper wire. Froth forming on a blade of grass. A wooden post. A beekeeper tending their hives. A clay saucer. waves lapping against the wooden dock. A silk handkerchief. Carving a walking stick. Stone block. A moth circling in porch light. A wool sock. Sunlight on a field of lavender. Tin lid. Potter trimming a bowl. A leather bookmark. Someone winding a music box. A ceramic egg. Flower dusting a wooden board. A yellow tutu. A heron lifting off from water. A copper thimble. Smoke drifting lazily up from a pipe. A fountain. A basketball court. A bamboo flute. A delicate dessert plate. Needle and thread. A glass inkwell. An acorn. A fox trotting through tall grass. A silk cord. A clay doll. A wooden axe. A stone cairn. A linen doll. Fresh rainwater collecting in a barrel. A plastic whistle. a stone plinth, a leather holster, an airplane, a silk handkerchief, bookshelf, a duck coming into a landing on the lake, a flint, apple cider, a songbird preening its wing, a bowl filled with fruit, a ceramic mortar, a sparrow flying in the clouds, brass eyelet, a wooden bung, a brass comet, a wooden bevel, a doorknob, a gray pen, chapstick, a farmer mending a fence, piece of paper, a stone quarter, a lion sleeping in the savannah, a sombrero, a cup, the perfect satchel, a paper clip, a card, a wool insert, a duvet, A wall. A longboard rolling down a sidewalk. A child picking dandelions. Frost melting off a windshield. A husky pawing at snow. A street light flickering on at dusk. A young woman tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. A tent flap rustling in the wind. A man loosening his tie. A paper bag crinkling. A toddler hugging a stuffed animal. A movie theater seat being folded up. A teenager doodling in a notebook. Dew dripping off of a leaf. A grandparent snoring in a recliner. A crosswalk signal slowly counting down. A librarian stamping a book. Pollen gently floating through sun. A skateboard pushing off. A laundromat dryer tumbling. A baker dusting flour off their hands. Coins going into a taximeter. Leaves skittering across pavement. An eraser taking a mistake off paper. A receptionist answering a phone. A claw machine descending into teddy bears. A bride adjusting her veil. Traffic cones all lined up. A groom straightening a tie. A photo booth curtain closing. A child eating ice cream off a cone. An ATM dispensing cash. A magician shuffling cards. A revolving sprinkler hissing. A clown twisting a balloon animal. A garage sale sign taped to a pole. A waitress balancing a tray. A flag waving in the gentle wind. A busker strumming their guitar. A garden hose coiled on the grass. A doorman tipping his hat. A popsicle dripping down a stick. Chauffeur opening a car door. Sand falling through an hourglass. A hostess calling your name. A pool tab popping off of a can. Parents reading a bedtime story. A welcome sign swinging in the wind. A chess player moving their queen. A menu standing on a table. A crossing guard waving kids across. The winning lottery ticket being scratched. A marquee sign flickering in the evening. A teacher writing on a whiteboard. A car blinker blinking before a turn. A caterer arranging appetizers. An awning extending into the afternoon sun. A neon open sign. A locker. A pool float drifting slowly. A corgi splashing in a child's pool. Condensation dripping down a window. Adjusting the rearview mirror. A hammock swaying on a porch. A woman pulling hair into a ponytail. Bubbles floating from a wand. A baby grabbing at their toes. A projector flickering on. A college student highlighting notes. Rain beating on a car hood. A toddler stomping in a puddle. A vending machine. A bartender slicing a lime. Soap suds sliding down a dish. A grandmother knitting on a couch. A pinball machine lighting up. A kid blowing out birthday candles. Curtains swaying from an AC vent. A chef tasting from a wooden spoon. A record player needle. A dad assembling furniture. A kite twinkling against the wind. A nurse checking a clipboard. Lines tilting to block the sun. A lifeguard twirling a whistle. An airplane fly into the sunset. A mechanic wiping their hands. An elevator door sliding open. A DJ adjusting their headphones. A ceiling fan spinning in the afternoon. A flight attendant demonstrating a seatbelt. Water rippling in a glass. A security guard watching their monitors. A paper airplane gliding through the room. A dog walker untangling leaves. Headlights sweeping across a garage. A pianist resting their hands on keys. A valet handing over keys. A baby sleeping in a car seat. Steam escaping a rice cooker. A mailman sliding mail through a slot. A balloon slowly losing air. A crossing guard holding a stop sign. A browser tab loading on a screen. A zookeeper tossing fish. A chandelier swaying lightly. A florist trimming stems. A parking meter blinking green. A personal trainer counting reps. A disco ball spinning. A dentist adjusting a light overhead. A compass needle settling north. A museum guide pointing at a painting. A laundry basket overflowing in the corner. A firefighter coiling a hose. A bowl of Halloween candy. A zipper. A safety pin. A small dipping bowl. A balcony railing. A metal straw. Air Jordan sneakers. A hair tie. Button-down t-shirt. Soft pillows on a bed. A pocketbook. A rubber grommet. A pager. The curly spine of a notebook. Frosted cupcakes. A ring. The lid of a mason jar. A drawstring. A large mug. A hand watch. A monocle. Earphones. A lamp. A candle holder. A large plant pot. The drawstring of a hoodie. The edge of a blanket. A brown belt. A picture frame. A leather bookmark. Someone winding a music box. A ceramic egg. Flour. Dusting a wooden board. A yellow tutu. A heron lifting off from water. A copper thimble. Smoke drifting lazily up from a pipe. A fountain. Basketball court. A bamboo flute. A delicate dessert plate. Needle and thread. A glass inkwell. An acorn. A fox trotting through tall grass. A silk cord. A clay doll. A wooden axe. A stone cairn. A linen doll. Fresh rainwater collecting in a barrel. A plastic whistle. A stone plinth. A leather holster. An airplane. A silk handkerchief. Bookshelf. A duck coming into a landing on the lake. A flint. Apple cider. A songbird preening its wing. A bowl filled with fruit. A ceramic mortar. A sparrow flying in the clouds. Brass eyelet. A wooden bung A brass comet. A wooden bevel. A doorknob. A gray pen. Chapstick. A farmer mending a fence. Piece of paper. A stone quarter. A lion sleeping in the savannah. A sombrero. A cup. The perfect satchel. A paper clip. A card. A wool insert. A duvet. A wall. A gold coin. A child watching ants march. A glass vase. A left shoe. Chapstick. A wooden canoe resting on calm water. A yellow balloon. Folding a wool blanket. A brass bell. Sunlight warming the clay pot. Cotton pillowcase. A tortoise walking across dry leaves. A ceramic bowl. Hands kneading bread dough. A river stone. A hammock swaying between two trees. a linen shirt, an old man pouring tea into a cup, smooth pebble, a cat stretching in the sunlight, a terracotta tile, wind moving through tall, a glass marble, a grandfather rocking in a chair, a wicker basket, steam rising from a bowl of soup, a wooden spool, a child drawing with crayons, a copper coin, laundry drying on a line in the breeze, a felt hat, a young man stacking firewood, a clay jug, a heron standing in shallow water, a canvas tote bag, butter melting on a warm toast, a brass key, a dog curled by a fireplace, a porcelain cup, an old woman winding a ball of yarn, a leather wallet, leaves floating gently downstream, a wooden house frame, a baker sliding bread into an oven, a tin box, fog settling into a valley, a wool mitten, a young woman tuning a guitar, glass bottle, a squirrel, an acorn in its mouth, cardboard tube, candlelight flickering on a wall, a stone tile, a fisherman Mending a net. A silk ribbon. Honey dripping from a spoon. A wooden crate. A young boy sweeping a porch. A warm ceramic mug. Pelican gliding gracefully over water. Clean white linen napkin. Raindrops sliding down a window. A cork stopper. A grandmother knitting by a fire. Spoon. Ocean waves, soothing sand on the beach. Bamboo rod. Polishing a wooden table. Glass jar. A deer drinking from a stream. Cotton bandana. Snow falling on a barn roof. Brass buckle. A potter shipping clay on a wheel. A leather strap. Shadows of branches on a white wall. A brass compass. Snow drifting. A dining room table. A ladybug. Warm amber light. A fishing boat. A pot. A tree. A bench. A spider web. A stick. A worn leather boot. Shadows. A castle tower. a napkin, sagebrush, a frozen lake, a linen napkin, an owl, a sundial, a hill, a velvet ribbon, a church, a sleeping cat, fog in a valley, ceramic mug, palm tree swaying, a staircase landing, a pepper mill, a tide pool, clouds, a canvas bag, a village square, a little green frog, a paper airplane, twilight deepening, wicker basket, an aspen grove, a ladder, a dish of butter, seashells, a grandfather clock, deep purple twilight, a meadow at dawn, a silver spoon, a bridge, a sleeping dog, a snail, a honey jar, thunder, a bamboo grove, a porcelain figurine, farmhouse porch, ball of yarn, lichen on a rock, a ceiling fan, pale yellow morning, fallen log, leather journal, a market stall, turtle sunning, rain on a window, ice crystals, coral reef, a fountain pen, next door, sewing kit, mushrooms, a window, sunset, a seal, an albatross, a lighthouse beam, a knitting needle, pebbles in a glass knob, hay bales stacked in a field, small copper tube, wind chimes singing on a porch, small stone cube, a grasshopper resting on a stick, a wool fringe, sunlight dappling a forest full, a wooden cone, shepherd guiding sheep home, a clay cylinder, a seagull standing on a pier, a long cotton string, steam rising from a pot, a brass tip, A stable hand brushing a horse. A leather flap on a bag. An egret wading through marsh grass. A globe. Clouds reflecting lazily in a still lake. A ceramic cone. A watchmaker placing the last of tiny gears. A linen strip. A toad jumping into a puddle. A glass cap. Methodically untangling fishing line. A wool hat. Autumn leaves drifting on a creek. A wooden ring. Child skipping stones on water. A wool tuft. Morning sun on a dewy garden. Cotton cap. Chandler dipping candles. Clay ring. The dove perched on a wire. Cotton tuft. Gentle ripples in a lake. Grass leaf. A baker sifting flour through a screen. A leather tab. A beetle walking on tree bark. A metal ring. Twilight setting over rolling hills. A tea coaster. A quilter stitching fabric squares. A linen tab. A crow landing on a fence rail. Glass this. Winding a pocket watch. Pebbles tumbling in a gentle stream. A moth drawn to lamplight. A wool binding. A sunset over endless fields. A wooden tab. A tin funnel. Clay cap. A newt resting on wet moss. Cotton shirt. Lantern light gently swaying on a boat. Leather pipe. Rope neatly coiled on a dock. A jaybird hopping between branches. Morning frost on a wooden gate. Linen binding. A gecko clinging to a warm wall. Wheat chaff floating in barn light. Milk streaming into a pail. A dog walker untangling leaves. Headlights sweeping across a garage. A pianist resting their hands on keys. A valet handing over keys. A baby sleeping in a car seat. Steam escaping a rice cooker. A mailman sliding mail through a slot. A balloon slowly losing air. Crossing guard holding a stop sign. A browser tab loading on a screen. A zookeeper tossing fish. A chandelier swaying lightly. A florist trimming stems. A parking meter blinking green. A personal trainer counting reps. A disco ball spinning. A dentist adjusting a light overhead. A compass needle. Settling nose. A museum guide. Pointing at a painting. A laundry basket. Overflowing in the corner. A firefighter. Coiling a hose. A screensaver. A camp counselor. Roasting a marshmallow. A locksmith. Jiggling a pick. A shopping cart wheel. Wobbling. A projector light. Flicking on. A park ranger. Feeding ducks. A turn signal. Changing to green. A housekeeper. Fluffing pillows. A sprinkler head. Rotating around the yard. A tattoo artist. Wiping ink. A doorbell camera. Activating. A referee. Blowing a whistle. A metronome. Keeping time. A tour guide. Raising an umbrella. A revolving door. Spinning on itself. A swing coach. Flicking on a stopwatch. A spinning car wash brush. Keys striking on a typewriter. A valet taking your keys. An usher pointing to a seat. Concierge handing over a package. A pinwheel spinning in the breeze. A parking attendant waving cars through. A whirring receipt printer. A busboy stacking plates high. A garage door rolling up. A ticket stub being torn. A cup of wine. A bank teller counting bills. A caddy handing over a golf club. A jukebox selecting a song. A Ferris wheel going round and round. A white t-shirt. A stress ball. Pancakes. A wallet on the nightstand. A fidget spinner. A remote control. A blue bandana. A lanyard. Smoke rising from a grill. A pen cap. A smoothie blender sitting on the kitchen table. A lint roller. A shower curtain. A laptop. A throw pillow. A pile of clean clothes laying on the ground. A folded newspaper. A diffuser releasing mist. A zip-up hoodie. A mattress pad. A cookie jar. A keychain. A porch step. A bowl of Halloween candy. A zipper. A safety pin. A small dipping bowl. A balcony railing. A metal straw. Air Jordan sneakers. A hair tie. Button-down t-shirt. Soft pillows on a bed. A pocketbook. A rubber grommet. A pager. The curly spine of a notebook. Frosted cupcakes. A ring. The lid of a mason jar. A drawstring. A large mug. A hand watch. A monocle. Earphones. A lamp. A candle holder. A large plant pot. The drawstring of a hoodie. The edge of a blanket. A brown belt. A picture frame. A phone case. Log. Chapstick. cable. A sea turtle. Scrub pants. An Uber. A popsicle dripping down a stick. Chauffeur opening a car door. Sand falling through an hourglass. A hostess calling your name. A pool tab popping off of a can. Parents reading a bedtime story. A welcome sign swinging in the wind. A chess player moving their queen. A menu standing on a table. A crossing guard waving kids across. The winning lottery ticket being scratched. A marquee sign flickering in the evening. A teacher writing on a whiteboard. A car blinker blinking before a turn. A caterer arranging appetizers. An awning extending into the afternoon sun. A videographer adjusting focus. A driver slowing the car to a stop. A hand dryer lasting air. An auctioneer pointing to the winning bidder. A valet ticket tucked in a visor. A pet groomer brushing a poodle. A turnstile clicking through. A wedding planner adjusting centerpieces. A seatbelt clicking into place. A food truck window sliding open. A squeaking windshield wiper. A claw machine descending. A food truck window sliding open. A display case being unlocked. A gym locker being shut. A tailor measuring an inseam. A large shopping bag, handles stretching up to meet you. A makeup artist blending foundation. An escalator step disappearing. A wardrobe stylist steaming a shirt. A subway door chiming. A dialect coach mouthing words. An automatic door whooshing open. Choreographer counting beats. A rotating luggage carousel. A singer adjusting a microphone. A tool booth arm lifting. A set designer moving props. An awning dripping after rain. Stunt double stretching before a scene. A conveyor belt moving groceries. A costume designer pinning fabric. A car trunk popping open.